Seborrheic dermatitis on scalp is not just dandruff, it's a chronic inflammation. But here's the thing, one natural ingredient which both science and ancient wisdom have found that works against seborrheic dermatitis, and today we are going to talk about it. Yes, I'm talking about tea tree oil, and in this video I'll tell you how incorporating tea tree oil in your scalp can actually manage the seborrheic dermatitis flare-ups. When you have seborrheic dermatitis, your scalp reacts to the overproduction of an yeast called Malassezia. The funny thing is, everyone's skin has Malassezia, but the problem starts when somehow your body starts producing Malassezia more than it's supposed to be, and then your immune system starts overreacting. That whole combo, which is the overgrowth of yeast and constant inflammation, turn this whole thing in a mess. As a result, your scalp flakes, your scalp feels painful, it itches, and makes your life miserable. Now let's get into the science behind the tea tree oil and why I'm suggesting you to include in your seborrheic dermatitis scalp routine. So, the tea tree oil is distilled from an Australian plant named Melaleuca alternifolia. Tea tree oil is loaded with a compound called terpinone 4 oil, which is antifungal and anti-inflammatory as well. Because tea tree oil is loaded with this compound which has antifungal properties, it has been found in research that tea tree oil can actually inhibit the growth of Malassezia, which is the yeast that causes seborrheic dermatitis. Not only it targets the yeast, it also calms the inflammation because, as I said, the terpinone 4-OL has anti-inflammatory properties. Because most of this itching, most of this burning sensation actually comes from the scalp inflammation, and if you can stop that by providing any ingredient topically, you can actually stop that inflammation, and if you can stop that inflammation, you can stop that irritation as well. And clinical studies also back these claims up. In one study, tested 5% tea tree oil shampoo on 126 people who had dandruff issues. After using that 5% tea tree shampoo for 4 weeks daily, the patient who had severe dandruff issues saw that their severity actually reduced to 41% compared to the placebo group, which was at 11%. And not only that, as I mentioned, that tea tree oil also calms the irritation. Participants also noticed that the oiliness and itching also improved. And you know the interesting part? It doesn't stop here. A 2013 study in medical mycology showed that tea tree oil actually is able to suppress the different strains of Malassezia yeast. Although they did the study in lab setting, but the principle still applies. Besides these two, there is another review published in 2018 which also stated that tea tree oil has this combo approach where it can show both antifungal properties and anti-inflammatory properties. I mean, by now you should be convinced that tea tree oil has enough evidence that it works against Malassezia yeast, which is the culprit behind seborrheic dermatitis. This isn't folk medicine anymore, this is actual science here. What you can do and how you can make a routine of tea tree oil if you want to manage the seborrheic dermatitis on your scalp. There are 3 ways to bring tea tree oil in your scalp routine. The first one is the most studied one, which is using a 5% tea tree oil shampoo in your hair care routine. This is the ideal situation because you have exact proof of that thing working. However, if you have scalp like mine, which is super sensitive, I would not advise you to use a shampoo because some people can actually experience dryness. Make sure you're not using it daily. Yes, the study said that you can use it daily, but that was for a study purpose. It's real life. In real life, you don't use harsh things daily. My recommendation to you would be, if you want to use the shampoo, use it every other day when you have flare-ups, and if you want to use it as a prevention, you can use it once or 2 times in a week. The second option is pre-diluted scalp oils. This is the option I chose for myself. As I mentioned, my scalp is super sensitive. It gets dry very quickly, so I have to make sure that I'm using a soothing option for me, and these pre-diluted scalp oils are working excellent for my scalp. You get everything ready. You just take the bottle, put on your scalp, put like 10 to 15 minutes. And if you want to wash, you can wash. If you want to keep it overnight, you can also use it as a leave-in scalp treatment. What I do, I usually wash it because I don't want to take risk with my scalp. My scalp doesn't like if I'm using too harsh products on it. So what I do, I just keep it for 15 minutes and then I wash. So I usually use it as a pre-shampoo treatment, you can say. And I don't use it daily. I use like 2 times in a week. If I have flare-ups, sometimes 3 times, but not more than that because my scalp doesn't like it. And the third option, which is the DIY route. In DIY route, you can take a tea tree essential oil and you dilute it with other carrier oils like jojoba, grapeseed. It depends on your preference. But if you ask me, I usually don't recommend this route. Now you might be wondering why. Because tea tree oil is very potent, and if you don't dilute it properly, there is a high risk of causing irritation on your scalp, and your scalp is already irritated because of the seborrheic dermatitis, and I don't want you to make it worse. But still, again, I know a lot of people, you prefer to do the DIY. If you want to go through the DIY option, I would say the safer bet is keeping it like 2 to 3% concentration. And if you want to aim for that 2 to 3% concentration, maybe mix 6 to 9 drops of tea tree essential oil with 1 tablespoon of carrier oil. In that way, you will make sure that you are not overdoing it, you are not making it too strong, and you are limiting the chances of irritation. Again, this DIY option, as it is 2 to 3%, you should not use it daily. You can use it as a leave-in scalp treatment, or you can use it a pre-shampoo treatment like me. It's same like the pre-diluted oil. The difference is that you are just making it at home. Tea tree oil has been a game changer for my seborrheic dermatitis. Keep in mind that you cannot get rid of seborrheic dermatitis. It will keep coming back again and again. Sometimes maybe it's because of the weather, sometimes maybe it's because of the stress. You cannot control everything, but make sure that whenever it's peeking its head through your scalp, you are actually taking proper actions to keep it under control. And tea tree oil is perfect for that because it's natural. It has enough scientific evidence that it works, and trust me, from my personal experience, I can vouch it for you. That was the video. Let me know if you're using any other natural treatment on your scalp to treat seborrheic dermatitis, because I know there are so many natural options available. I'll see you on my next video. Until then, ciao.